what do you see his relationship in general, or what he's saying about technology in 2001?
On the one hand, since the film itself is so technologically, I think, superb, and actually, I think Kubrick embraces it in a way, and this gets to another one of his themes. I think there's this, dwelling a self-critique of his own view. He's like Kubrick as a director wants to sort of nail down everything. He wants to know everything. He wants to have every aspect of his film under his control in terms of themes, in terms of what goes in it. At the same time, his films critique that type of outlook, which I believe is the outlook of a technological society. Johnny Clay, for instance, he starts it off early in his films. Johnny Clay is a sort of double for Kubrick in terms of trying to control an operation, a bank heist. And I see Johnny Clay's bank heist to be a sort of parallel to Kubrick making a movie. And I think 2001, to a great extent, is as self-conscious a movie as there ever was. So on the one hand, Kubrick's, I think, attracted to this and really went to great lengths to, I think, glory in it. And I think some of the use of the music exemplifies this, the sort of poetic, almost visual poetics of the spacecraft going toward the space station to the themes of the Blue Danube.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, there's a romance there with it. On the other hand, you have a killer computer, which I guess is the closest you're going to. I think that's maybe the science fiction part. But the fact is that Hal is the most sympathetic character in the movie, and I think one of the I just wrote down, like, what are the major questions that this film sort of leaves people, and I came up with pretty much three. What is the monolith? Why does Hal kill everybody? And why does he crack? What causes it? And what's the meaning of sort of the last segment of the movie, the Stargate, the room, and the Star Child? I've read a lot about speculations of why Hal cracked, and ultimately none are satisfying. Because I think there's a lot about the film which I compare it to a film like Rashomon, where I think you get into a trap by trying to figure out the movie, so to speak. I think you have to sort of embrace the movie's own terms, and I think this is what Kubrick was about in his movies, and that's why I think, especially starting with 2001, there begins a divide between the critics of Kubrick's work. People who loved his previous work suddenly sort of drift away, not all of them, but many major ones, because I think they refuse to sort of go inside the movies. They're repelled by what they consider the formalities. And I think it's somewhat frustrating to read reviews of the movies. And the other thing is, I think Kubrick's always ahead of the critics. As it turns out, some of the movies like Barry Lyndon and Shining, which did not get embraced when they first came out critically, are sort of seen as masterpieces, and sort of, especially The Shining.